friends. How are you doing? Hello, friends. How are you? So, I wanted to say something. I've actually been meaning to say this, but I just keep on forgetting whenever I make videos. Excuse me. And I'm super busy, super busy. So, I be forgetting stuff. But like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I had mentioned there was somebody on TikTok. There's like TikTok beef. The girl that got the her boobs and BBL, and people were hating on her. Right. I just wanted to say something. Somebody put a message on her TikTok and it said, "Now work on your personality. Now that you have the beautiful body that you wanted, work on your soul and your personality." Right. And she's like, "No." She straight up answered them and was like, "No." And this girl, I didn't know she went through all of this stuff. I know she had like this really bad relationship with her mom growing up, and her mom abandoned her and all this stuff like that. So I knew that about her, but I didn't know to what extent her mom and her weren't getting along, right? And everybody's been through something in life, right? Maybe we didn't have like a fair upbringing or whatever. So for me, I'm just going to speak from my personal self. I was in fight mode all the time. I was in trauma mode all the time because of things I've been through in my life, and I didn't trust anybody, and I was always watching my back, and you know, a lot of that, because those were defense mechanisms that I put before me to protect myself because everything that happened to me when I was younger was out of my control. And so in order, as an adult, for me to avoid being betrayed or anything like that, I created these defense mechanisms to keep people kind of like away from me or to keep me safe, right? But to other people, it came off like I just wanted to fight people, which was true. I'm if need be, I can, okay? But I'm not that person anymore. But a lot of us, a lot of time, like even the mommies in the mommy sector, I understand Liv has been through things in her life, and I think that's why her mom babies her and enables her the way she does, because maybe she feels some sort of guilt for not really being there for her the way she was supposed to be. So, and I think Jazzy's mom too, they kind of have this like guilt for not being like the best parent that they have been. I can admit I wasn't the best parent to my daughter growing up. But she's not gonna dangle that over my head for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? That's not gonna happen. I will not enable her, and she will not enable me, and she would not hold that against me. And I feel whenever we go through these things with our families, with our whatever, whoever, we can't, like, we have to eventually forgive, and we can't be using that against people and say, well, when I was little, you were never there. I was always with grandma or whatever. You can't do that because you're holding on to that resentment. If you forgive somebody for mistreating you when you were younger, regardless of what it was, I know everybody's been through different things. I've been through different things that you haven't been through. But for me, I had to let all of that stuff go. That's why I was always ready to fight people. That's why I was ready to throw down like all the time. Like I was ready to fight. And to me, I could justify it because I was protecting myself. That was my thing. Like I was like, no, I just have to be careful. I don't want anybody. And even in my last relationship, I feel I was taken advantage and we were both toxic to each other. But I mean, I allowed it to happen. So at some certain, it was my fault too. So when I got out of that and I realized that that relationship was not 50-50, and I was being basically kind of, in my opinion, taken advantage of, I started to be resentful, and I started to be mad and angry, and I started putting our stuff all on the internet and talking about our relationship and how I was taken advantage of and how I didn't feel like I was fairly treated in that relationship. But honestly, it was both of us. Like we just weren't right for each other. And it took me a long time because I felt guilty, because I felt like if I was leaving, my ex behind and when my ex really needed me, because my ex depended on me financially, even, like for everyday things, So I felt guilty for leaving because, but even though I was being treated bad, I still felt like I had an obligation to fulfill, and I had promised that I would never leave, and I would always take care of her. You know what I mean? And when I finally like realized, like, what are you doing? Like, you need to meet somebody that's going to treat you the same way. When I finally woke up, that's when I started being resentful because I felt so dumb. I felt like, why did you do that? Like, why did you allow that to happen for so many years? So when we see these people online, like this lady is so confident, the lady that has like the BBL, but she has a very troubled past, okay? And she's been through some very sad, sad things, okay? And when she told them, like I think it was just today, they're like, okay, you need to work on yourself. She said no. And I was like, I could totally see myself. When people were telling me stuff, like they kept telling me, like, yes, you're pretty, you're very pretty, but you need to change your attitude. I was like, fuck you, I would get so mad for saying that to me. And I'm like, what are you talking about? No, fuck you. You're like, whatever. You're like, you're freaking whatever. Like, I was straight up telling people that. And people were saying, yes, you are a very, you do have things going for you, but you have to fix your attitude. And I had this attitude because I was trying, because I felt justified. And honestly, and that was because I couldn't let things go. I couldn't let go what happened to me. I couldn't forgive people that did things to me. And I was carrying that with me. That's what that anger was. That's what that attitude was. That's what it was, is because I was holding on to resentment. And in order to get rid of that resentment, I can laugh about it now. Okay. I get that laugh about it now. At the time, you couldn't tell me nothing. Okay. You couldn't tell me anything. I couldn't, like the moms. They're like, no, they are right and we're just haters, because we wish to be them. That was kind of how I was. I mean, it wasn't that bad. But they really, really, because I don't even know how much time they got left, to be honest with you, because it is getting boring in this sector. And they don't really get much views. The reactors at this point get more views, or the OG reactors, and it's like, when are you going to stop fighting people when everybody is just trying to give them advice in order for them to evolve? Because we've all evolved we have all evolved as people in the time that we've been watching, and they haven't. They're still stuck, and it's frustrating to watch, but they think we're jealous or whatever, but we're not, we're really not. But I can see how a lifelong of being enabled and being told, or being raised, or like their moms, how they enable them, they feel like they deserve it, like everything that comes to them, and that's why they don't hold themselves accountable, you know what I mean? But they really need to let that go, because they are already up there in age. Like, these aren't no 20-year-old women. They act like they're 20, but they're not. They're like pushing mid 30s, but they still have this childlike behavior because nobody has ever told them. You have to, like, somebody from the outside has to tell you. That's how I was like, okay, maybe there is some truth to what these people are saying, Like, they would say, like, all you are is just a pretty face, but your attitude is what ruins it. They used to tell me that all the time. They used to tell me that all the time. I'd be like, and so what? Because I was still mad. I was still angry because of everything that happened to me. But I had to let every single betrayal go. And I had to forgive everybody for what they did to me growing up or whatever. I had to forgive them and let it go, because I was just wearing that anger everywhere. You know what I mean? So when I see these moms, I see it, and that's where I speak from. I speak from experience, because when that lady was like, no, I don't care, I'm gonna keep on talking shit, I don't care what nobody says, it's my life. That's what I would say. And I'm like, okay, B, you need to calm down. You need to calm down, like seriously. But you don't see it until you're ready to see it. Just like these moms, they're not ready to see it. They're, we're just nothing but haters. In time, when it's their time, they will see it. And hopefully it's not too late, because you can't show anybody something they don't want to see. You can lead a horse to water, but they won't drink it. They won't drink it. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I was so independent, self-sufficient. Nobody was going to tell me nothing. I don't need y'all anyways, that kind of attitude. But when I was ready to see it, because I can hold myself accountable. I can look at myself in certain situations and I can say, okay, B, that was you. Okay, that was you. But that's all I ever knew my whole life. But until these people were telling me, you're like, you have a pretty face but an ugly attitude. That's when I started to notice it, because nobody in my real life was telling me. Nobody. These people were telling me this. Some of them took it a bit too far, but honestly, that's how I was able to look at myself. But I wasn't going to look at myself until I was ready. Until you're ready for change, you're ready to do things different, you're ready to evolve as a person. Oh my gosh. Is that? Oh no, it's a shadow. Anyways, but that's what I'm talking about. These women really need to change how they are in order to change as women, to be better people, human beings for their children that they are raising, because their children are our future. If anything, in the beginning of this whole thing, I didn't do it until it was involved my kids. You know what I mean? That's how I started it. It wasn't about me, because I didn't even love myself. You know what I mean? Anyways, I was just thinking about that. So anyways, the lady with the BBL, she told people she don't care. She's going to continue to be a bitch because she's still going to get famous. So I'll keep you updated on that. Okay, bye-bye.